Good evening, Internet. Well, it has been a long and silly day, but I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my road trip. Now, the actual footage from the road trip is going to be cut and put on Car Stuff with Katherine, and you'll see that soon. But I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of electric car stuff. So, on this road trip, on my way up, I was keenly aware of all of the cars on the highway and trying to watch and seeing what there was to see out there because I haven't ever been along these highways that I was about to travel. And we drove from Las Vegas to Utah via Salt Lake, up through Utah into Idaho, up through Idaho into Montana, in Montana for quite a while. We actually slept overnight in Montana, hit a left, and then back into Idaho because of the way Idaho's shaped, and then into Washington that way via Coeur d'Alene, and then Spokane. So that was the route that we took, and the reason we took that route, it was several hundred miles longer than the most direct route, which goes up through Battle Mountain in the middle of Nevada, across what is known as the loneliest highway in America, and there's no water and no services for miles and miles and miles and miles. Like, it's a really dangerous highway to take in the summer. If you break down out there, you are extremely hosed. And we were taking a high mileage pickup truck. It seemed like not a great idea. And we knew if we went the longer way and like we will the short way, but where there can't be any problems, there's going to be problems. If we go the more forgiving way, there's not going to be any problems. We brought tools just in case. And there weren't any problems, but you know how it would have been if we didn't bring any tools. Truck would have broke down. But anyway, it was a great trip. But I was really looking for electric cars and also seeing like what kind of cars people drive up in these places. Lots of pickup trucks when we were in cow country and in farm towns and stuff, and that made sense to me. Lots and lots of pickup trucks, and we were in the townships, seeing what like just people who weren't maybe necessarily farmers or ranchers were driving. Lots and lots of Subarus I saw, and that makes sense. See a lot of legacy Outbacks and Foresters and of all years and conditions, most of which were lifted, a lot of which had mud flaps, and the further north we got, the more mud flaps I started to see. So I imagine that's from snowy conditions and slushy conditions and things like that. People want to keep all that slush and salt that's on the road and not all over the back of their car or whatever. But I don't know, I saw a lot of that out there. I saw not one Tesla the entire way up there. I did see some Volts. I did see some Volts in Utah. Most of the Volts I saw were in Utah, and I saw a lot of Bolts and Nissan Leafs and stuff, in Salt Lake City, because we did spend a couple hours in Salt Lake City because I'd never seen it before. And wow, what a beautiful city! I was stunned. Because I live in Vegas, man. We make all of our pretty stuff is for the tourists. It's not for the locals. It's not for the general public. And Salt Lake City gave a damn and built some really beautiful parks and some really great infrastructure. And I was like, oh wow, this is a whole different kind of a city, a whole different kind of a thing. So that was cool to see. But anyway, I digress. I see no Teslas anywhere, none on the road, in that part of the country, and that made me think oh my god, I'm so spoiled, because I see Teslas literally every day. Almost every intersection that I ever come to a red light on has a Tesla in it, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And now I'm starting to see more and more Model 3s, but mostly Model S's and Model X's all over the place. We have a mall here, this big outdoor complex, Town Square, and there they have a row of superchargers, and I think it's 10 superchargers, and anytime you drive past it, it is either at or very near capacity, and that's $100,000 cars is $1 million in Teslas just chilling. Anytime you drive by, there's going to be people there soaking up their Tesla supercharge and getting their shop on, and that's I see them all the time. I'm always driving past that facility, and there's just Tesla chargers all over the place. There's a lot of them in Nevada. There's one in freaking Tonopah, which is good, because if you're going to drive from Reno to Vegas and you are in a Tesla, you're going to need that supercharge station in Tonopah. But, and I see them all over, Reno, naturally, whenever I go home to visit, because that's where they're making them up there, man. The Tesla plant is up there right outside of Sparks, my hometown. So, I'm just used to seeing Teslas. And I saw one charging station for Tesla in Montana, in the same little town that we spent the night in. And forgive me for not remembering it. When we rolled into the place, we were bleary-eyed and exhausted, and we just cheap motel, crash, and happened to drive past a Tesla state. But there were no Teslas actively charging at it. So I didn't see any Teslas at all, not until we got to Spokane. The entire time we were in Spokane, which is we're close to 2 days. My makeup was running all over my face. What a long day. we saw, you know, we were in Spokane for just close to 2 days, but like Rob and I did a fair amount of exploring downtown, and you know, checked out the Riverfront Park, and caught that, you know, Comic-Con was in town, the Spokane Comic-Con thing that they had going on, and there was like a superhero pub crawl and all kinds of craziness going on. And you know, really looking there even was a car show that we went past, and there were lowriders and stuff in there, but you know, there weren't any Teslas. In, like, I saw one Model X at all the whole time I was there, and now I understand that there's probably more than that in town, in Spokane, but that was the only one that I saw the entire road trip. Now, that having been said, Spokane did have EV charging stations just like out in the world, just like at like metered parking. Like, oh, also you can charge here. And I saw Nissan Leafs, like quite a few Leafs. I saw a couple of Bolts, mostly Nissans, and I think I saw, it might have been an Insight that was sitting, chilling, charging, which is cool. But I didn't see any Teslas. So I don't know if that has to do with price point or range or what have you. But in that area of the world that was very rural and, you know, farm-based and ranching community-based and, like, livestock and things like that, I didn't see any Teslas. And I wasn't surprised by that. I really, like, of course there's not going to be Teslas in this environment when there's not supercharging stations, when people need more utility out of their vehicles than you can get out of a Tesla, when, you know, it just made sense. Also, gas was cheap. Like, there's no motivation to own it. Like, I saw gas that was, you know, right around $2 a gallon. I couldn't believe it. I mean, in Las Vegas right now, we got gas prices climbing, and I think, like, the cheapest I see in town is like $3.27. Most of the places are right up around $3.40 right now, and that's projected to change. It's going to keep going up. Now, I know gas prices vary widely no matter where you are, and we have a lot of fuel indexing in Nevada where they add extra taxes to our fuel in order to pay for the infrastructure of the roads, that they're constantly building. We're always under construction all the time because Nevada's state flower is the orange cone. But anyway, I just couldn't believe how cheap the gas prices were in you know, northern Idaho and Montana, and things like that. So, like, on top of the fact that there's not the infrastructure there to charge Teslas, there's also not the motivation because like, when gas is that cheap, you don't really need to spend $100,000 on an electric car. You don't even need to spend, what's going by? Oh, wide open, no exhaust having scooter thing. That was noisy for no reason. Anyway, when gas is that cheap, there's no reason to spend a bunch of money on a new car when the car you have is perfectly fine and it suits all your purposes already, and you can afford to keep putting gas in it. Like, of course, that's what you're going to do, and that's what people there are doing. So I thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. After, like, it was such an epic road trip, and you know, we didn't take an electric car on it, but I had my eye out for electric cars to see who was out there. And the only ones I saw on the highway, guys, I gotta say, it's completely true, Chevy Volt. That is what I saw on the highway, was the Volt, more than any other hybrid or EREV. Now, I did see Priuses out there. Of course, you're going to see the Prius everywhere. It's an incredibly well-selling vehicle, and the Prius was out there. But the Prius is not a Volt. The Volt is an extended range electric vehicle. And I have one, and I was proud to see all of Alessandro's cousins out there cruising the country and doing what they were doing, and it was really cool to see the Volts out there. So that was the one that I saw the most on the highway. So I'm still feeling good about my choice with Alessandro, and yeah. So that's the stuff that I'm excited about today when it comes to electric vehicles. Like, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you live in Idaho, or you live in Montana, or you live in Utah, let me know, like, how many Teslas have you seen? Are they around? What's going on with that? I'm really interested to hear from you guys out there who actually live in these places, because all I was able to do was drive through it. All I've seen of it is this narrow ribbon of highway that happened to take me where I was going. I'm extremely aware of that. I know my experience is narrow, tiny, compared to people who live in those places. So, like, if you are one of those people, please let me know in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys. And let me know what you guys think. If you do drive an electric vehicle, how big a factor was fuel cost? And if so, like, what was your tipping point where you were like, when you went to the pump and you saw that number and you're like, that's it, I need an electric car? Like, what for you was like, when you're like, that's it, I'm done paying for gas? Like, if that was one of the factors for you. I really want to know what everybody's threshold is. I know everybody's going to have a different one, and I'm interested in all those diverse opinions. So please let me know that in the comments down below. And with that having been said, it's really good to get back to automotive content. I love you guys so much. So if this is your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing right over here. Here's some other things I think you'll enjoy right down here. My name is Katherine with EVs of Nevada. Please remember to like, subscribe, and smile.